Welcome to the Value Wrestling Podcast. I'm the big time BT Baldwin. This is my tag team partner,
Wallace Clark.
and we are here to give you the best value in pro wrestling sports entertainment today. We are here to be a part of the IWC community the best. We vow that the value is back into wrestling. Welcome to the Value of Wrestling Podcast. I'm the big time BT Baldwin, along with the mastermind himself,
Wallace Clark.
and we're here again to go over some news, rumors, events, and everything that's been happening in wrestling over the past week. This week, we know that the pay-per-view for blah 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 came out. He knows. I don't know why I can't remember no matter how many times you say it.
United Wrestling Network Primetime Live.
I just want to say the NWA event, but that came out on Tuesday. We watched that. There's a review up about that. Go watch that video. Let's see what happened big this week. Rumors about Ronda Rousey coming back. Several rumors in different areas coming out of that. Supposedly coming out, hot topic today, Melina has re-signed a contract with WWE. And we wait to see what kind of role or how that'll all play out with her. Sasha Banks is, I don't know. But the hot Sasha Banks topic was she was a Jedi. At least that's what everybody's alluding to or believing, that she was a Jedi in the new preview for The Mandalorian Season 2, which comes out October 30th. So we know partly where she was when she was in wrestling. She was making some filming, maybe. Who knows? She may be just a small cameo. Maybe she'll have a bigger role. We'll just have to wait and find out. Other than that, I don't know. Is there any other news, rumors, anything you can think of off the top of your head?
No, not off the top of my head.
Not off the top of your head. Let's see here. So, SmackDown just got over. We quickly reviewed. We didn't really review. We quickly went over some of the stuff that happened there. We saw Sasha Banks in the interview scene. While we're on the topic of Sasha Banks, and I don't know what to make of any of it. It was hot garbage straight to me. It was just hot, steaming pile of garbage. She said, "I am so emotional." I'm like, cool. Show me that emotion. Nada. She kind of got like she was going to cry, but she really didn't give me that. Like, I don't want you to cry. I want you to be freaking pissed off. And then in the end, she gets attacked again by Bayley. And Bayley had the chair around her neck. All people were like, no, I'm like, Bayley. And she stepped on the chair. She reached over for the title. And I'm like, just crack on the chair. I mean, be the vicious heel that you're supposed to be. Do what you're, I don't know. It was hot garbage.
There wasn't really much to say about it. It's kind of one of those, it is what it is, and
Yeah.
It could have been better. There's 20 million ways we could have booked this better. Or at least from an armchair quarterback kind of way. But they did what they did, and we just have to...
It was a steaming pile of garbage. And I'm tired of garbage, especially Sasha Banks, who's the boss. She's supposed to be this badass.
The legit boss.
Well, yeah, but I mean, she ain't bossing anything except maybe her dog or her husband. I don't know. She's still married either. I don't know. There's been rumors, speculation about that. None of my business. Don't really want to get into it. But the fact of the matter that Sasha's has been so much more stronger. I've seen more emotion from Sasha, and this crap was garbage. Like, she couldn't even fake cry. Like, she doesn't believe the story she's in. And that's how I feel. Like, she's like trying to make me believe a story she doesn't even believe.
Well, yeah, because I mean, when at her best she can be face, but her best role is always as a heel.
Well, even that, but I mean, just the pure. I mean, she could go into boss mode and be a face if she would just get that emotion and be like, go off about it. So she said, "Oh yeah, you are an idiot," and whatever the other one was, an idiot. Oh, you think of an idiot, naive. Yes, you are an idiot, naive. And she got semi-booted, and then Bayley attacked her, and then Bayley was getting, I don't know, are they getting... The world of professional wrestling, we're blurring completely the lines of face and heels that we don't even know who's who anymore. It's really killing the whole scenario. Like, they're doing it on all ends. Like, you go to the main event of SmackDown tonight, you had Roman Reigns tagging up again with Jey Uso in a Samoan street fight because, well, it's so...
Could just be a street fight,
Yeah, it's so different from any other street fight. So we had a Samoan street fight. Again, it's, of course, Baron Corbin and Sheamus. Like, how many freaking times do I have to see Roman Reigns get in the ring with Baron Corbin or Sheamus? Like, I don't care if it's singles, I don't care if it's tag team. It's like these two, their whole careers, these three guys have been, like, fighting one another. Ever since Roman entered, it's like Baron Corbin, Sheamus, Baron Corbin, Sheamus. And I'm like, We know what happens there. And then you have Roman. I don't know. Yeah, Roman's giving some looks, but I don't know what he's doing. It's his bloodline. I'm like going, there better be a freaking payoff come Clash of the Champions. There better be something written and stuff. They did a beautiful promo tonight. I will give them that with Paul E. talking about the dynasty of the Samoans, going all the way back to Afonsinka, but they didn't mention Chief Maivia, Rocky's daddy, Chief Maivia, or grandfather, because Rocky Johnson was his daddy, and that's how he got the name Rocky Maivia when he first came into WWE.
I don't think they didn't use the name. But wasn't one of the first pictures of him?
Yes, they showed the picture and they showed it twice, but they didn't mention his name. It's like, why wouldn't you mention the lineage? I mean, Alpha and Sika, the Wild Samoans, Fatu. They didn't even. Well, they did talk about Fatu, but I don't think they talked about Samu, the head shrinkers. Because Fatu is, Rikishi, or very many variations of Fatu when he was the hip gangster from San Francisco, or the Sultan, which most people don't know when he was under the mask. And then he became Rikishi. They talked about Yokozuna and that lineage, but they didn't, what about the greater lineage? I don't know. And I don't know what that's supposed to do. Are we supposed to be like from what I'm reading, they're saying that Paul Heyman's relationship is totally different than with Roman than it is with Brock Lesnar, which is fine, understandable, and that Paul Heyman's role in this is just it's a totally business thing. That Roman's going to keep it very business. But the long-term projection is they're going to let him slide heel until they can turn face again. I'm just going. They haven't even given me, I don't know. Sasha Banks should be a heel. She's a talented. She can pull it off. Sasha, give me more emotion. But what are you all doing? Vince. Vincent Kennedy McMahon, your time is up.
A lot of empires, your time is over.
Please, just... I don't know what you want to do. I don't know where you're going. You got Roman Reigns out here fighting Sheamus and Baron Corbin when he was supposed to be presented as his comeback as this heel, but he's facing Baron Corbin and Sheamus. Two goofy heels. Baron Corbin's a joke anyways. I don't take him seriously. He was never anything serious except this time in NXT when he first came out and he was a dominant person. Ever since then, and he came and he shaved his head, he's been nothing but a joke. He's a straight jobber to get somebody else over.
You mean that gateway?
Yes. And Sheamus is playing that same role. They wasted Sheamus. They used to have Sheamus up here. Came in when that title had that quick match against Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania, which set off, and Sheamus had a great feud with John Cena and all that crap in the beginning, and now Sheamus is a joke. I love the character Sheamus is playing. I like the way he's dressed. There's so much potential there to get him somewhere again, but no, they want to have him running around with freaking Baron Corbin. Because where's Shorty G? I thought Shorty G was Baron Corbin's court because he went heel last time we saw him, but I guess he's off TV. I don't know. I don't get how you're going to tell me that Roman Reigns is a heel. He's coming back as this badass heel. Yes, he's giving a couple cross-eyed, sideways glances to Jay. And yes, it's family. Yeah. But I don't know. It's like, if Roman's going to be heel, give me heel Roman. Give me intense, over-the-top Roman. What am I getting? I got a taste of what he can do, and then it was diluted back down again.
That counts as slow burn.
And Clash of the Champions, which is the next pay-per-view, which is not this Sunday, but next Sunday. We'll have to see how it all plays out.
I just think that I do think that we're gonna get the payback.
The payoff.
The payoff in Clash of Champions. Because it would make no sense to book it any other way. Like, he's got.
How do you book it? How do you book it at this point, right now? Do you book it straight squash?
I don't know about a straight squash since that's probably going to be the main event. But yes, he's got to run through him. He's got to run through him viciously.
Well, yes, he's got to come out viciously. But I don't see, if we don't get a base, it's like, to me, the only way I see it is a squash. Maybe a 10-minute squash.
Okay.
But
when I think squash, I think short. I think,
Well, I just think it's a beatdown. I think it's a straight Samoan beatdown is what Roman Reigns is going to come out there to do.
I agree.
But I got to get something. I guess next week it'll be the last Friday before the pay-per-view. So I guess we got to have something next week that kind of pushes it in that corner. Jay's got to do just enough to trigger this total beatdown. Because right now we're getting this other family, so they're doing this out of pride, which doesn't give me the heel Roman I want.
Right.
In a sense, it's like, okay, he's kind of there, but he's just got to go.
It's all about
snap.
undertones as opposed to snapping. You're right.
Mm-hmm. So Jay's got to do something. I know part of this, what they're burning in was last week they, Roman was holding up the title after Paul gave it to him, and then, Jay raised his hand, and Roman's like, who the fuck you? Cool. This week we saw Jay bring the title in the ring. Did he use it? Yeah, he used it. And then, there was like, maybe Roman noticed the belt was in the ring, but I don't know. It was...
Yeah, really, I knew it was a no consequence.
Yeah, so I'm like, there's got to be something that we know the title is being the interjecting point. We got to know where, quit touching my stuff. So I'm assuming next week they're going to present somewhere. He's going to touch that belt one too many times, and Roman's going to either push him or signify this. But I got to go into the pay-per-view totally believing that Roman is just ready to tear apart Jay. This whole family dynamic, it's cool. It's about pride. I get that, but Jay doesn't stand a chance in the ring with Roman. It's not even viable. He got lucky in the 4-man match. The only reason they're doing this is to create this family bond and the storyline that's okay, but at the end of the day, Jay's going to get... Jay can get maybe some comeuppance on Roman, but at the end of the day, Jay's not going to win. That's the big thing. So why even tease us that he even has the possibility of doing it? Why not straight 10-minute squash? This just needs to be... the matches need to be 10 minutes long. What they need to do is have Roman attack him before the bell rings and just beat him up all around the ring, and then throw him in the ring. Jay's still like, I can fight, and then bam, spear, bam, spear, bam, spear, 1, 2, 3.
This is not a Goldberg match.
Well, I know, but my point is being like, he needs to jump Jay before the match. They can have 10 minutes outside the ring, just beating the crap out of Jay, throwing over everything. Jay just keeps getting up and having to beat him down, and then finally throw him in the ring, and have the refs, the doctors, everybody checking on Jay, and Jay do the noble thing because it's all about, the heritage of pride, the Samoan, I can do this, and you just have Roman sit there and spear him, go to the other corner, wait till he gets up, spear him again. Yeah, maybe Goldberg is, but I just need that heel Roman just to run straight through him. No mercy has to be given in this match. For Roman to make that turn and for this to be the payoff. Anything less than that, then I know Vince is fucking with us. Scratch that. I know Vince is messing with us, and that he does. And again, Vince does not care about a smart mark.
Or a logical match, which is kind of saying the same thing.
Yes. Well, yeah, he doesn't care about people like us who want to come on here and critique the profession and say this is what's wrong with wrestling. People who've been watching this business since, since the golden era. And there's many people out here in the IWC, all over the place. Everybody comes out. We all do it. And at some point, we're all going to have to get together and join in and say, we're going to hold Vince accountable. We've got to do something because this is garbage. Because we know Vince hates us because he knows we're right. That's the fact of the matter. He knows we know what we're talking about now, and he can't pull the wool over our eyes, so he gives the casual fans because they're the ones throwing their money at him. Us, we're going, okay, we'll give you money, but we want what we want.
And that's the thing. The only way to change Vince's mind is not to have money thrown at him, which means you have to change the minds of the casual fans somehow, which I really don't.
Well, the casual fans are falling off though because the ratings are.
That's true too.
So, at some point, something's going to have to change, and they only have until the end of this month in the Thunderdome. What they're doing after this, I hear outdoor venues is their next target. They want to bring people in. AEW is bringing people in. So, Vince is going, I got to do something because they got people coming. I got to get people coming. And are the casual fans going to be willing to risk it to go to these things? Yes, the Thunderdome's filled up because TV screen, but there's not much on those TV screens. Thunderdome's a joke. Thunderdome, you get to watch the TV show on your computer while this camera records your face, and basically they tell you to cheer and they tell you to boo, and I'm sure if you don't do what they say, they go, okay, bye-bye.
That's why Thunderdome experience never interested me. We've known different people. You're also one of them.
Yes.
Who went through that experience, and I was just like, not for me.
So let's just change the subject completely because we're going down that road. So Melina back in WWE, PW Insider reports that WWE has signed former women's champion and Divas champion. I didn't know she carried both. I guess she did. Melina to a new deal. She had been under contract with NWA, but that contract recently expired. This prevented her from working the Women's Royal Rumble back in January. It was added that she'll be returning to WWE programming within the next week.
That's their guess. They don't know for sure, but with the next week is the earliest that's possible.
So where does she go? What do they do with Melina at this point? I mean, I haven't seen Melina. I don't know what she looks like right now, per se.
No, she looks pretty good still.
That's cool.
Because she did a little bit of wrestling on NWA Power when she was still part of the company. I mean, she's not as, she's an older woman, not as fast as some of the younger talent, but she can still move well enough to make it worth it. So whether they bring her in as a manager and or a wrestler, I mean, they got 3 brands that any of them can use her in any of the roles. So it's really up to them, and it's up to her what happens.
She was born March 9th, 1979. I just found that out. I thought that was interesting. She's only 41. Melina, no, kidding. Just kidding. Never mind. Let's not go there. Yeah, I mean, I'm single if you're single. Well, I am single, period, even if you're not, but I mean, what do you say? You know what I meant. No, I'm kidding. Anyway, so Melina back to the WWE. I don't know what they're going to do with her. I guess they got Mickie James there. She's wrestling. I guess they kick Melina to wrestle, but she would be a jobber to the people they want to get over, but I don't know who would you want to see Melina wrestle? Paige. Or at least tag up, and then they can be the Screaming Banshees.
Yeah, only Paige could wrestle.
Paige can wrestle decently.
No, not by ability. I mean by.
Oh.
Because she's.
I think she's supposed to be coming back. I don't know where she is in the status, in and out, back and forth. So Melina back in the WWE. I don't know where you go with that. I don't know who you. I mean, does she?
Does she wrestle? Do you pair her with someone as a manager? What do you do with her?
Manager. Maybe you bring back. No, never mind. We'll bring Batista into this, but I can't think of anybody you would really have. I mean, unless you bring her back to be with Morrison and Miz. And then how would Morrison's wife feel about that over an Impact?
Alright.
I don't know where you put Melina in. I guess you could really put her back with Morrison, then bring Maurice back and put her with the Miz, and then wow, if you ever got that gossip circle started, probably never end. Ooh, scary thought. She could come back into the wrestling. I don't see anything really productive other than getting younger stars over. But I mean,
well, what do you think Mickie James' role really is?
Well, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what you do with her. That's other rather than her getting over the younger stars. Managing wise, maybe she goes to NXT and manages some young upcomers.
Possible.
Maybe. Main roster. I can't think of anybody on the main roster I can really see.
What if you put Melina with Angel Garza?
Well, yeah, if you're taking Selena Vega away from there and put her.
They've already broken that clue up.
So I mean, you could have her line, but isn't Angel Garza like flirting with Lana? Isn't that what we're supposed to be looking
And
at?
he's flirting with everyone. That's kind of the whole point of his character. Even though, yes, what's her?
Lana? CJ?
No. The one from The Bachelor.
Oh, I don't know. That it's.
Because they kind of keep her around a little bit, but now last up with Raw or whatever. Yeah, you're right. Now he's hitting on Lana.
I wonder how Miro feels. Miro would eat that little punk up like a sandwich if they would let. Oh my gosh! If only Miro could be Miro. I mean, only they would have let Rusev be Rusev, and only can please you AEW. Tony, God, look, Tony. You run AEW. If you need writers, if you need help, I swear, please give us a call. We'll be there. We'll be there in the flash. I don't mind Florida. I lived in Palm Bay. I lived in Brevard County. Very beautiful place to live. I will live in Jacksonville, Florida. No doubt about it. not one of my favorite places, not a place I would want to go live, but if, Tony Khan gave me a call, look, Tony, you got to give us something different than the crap that's over there in that other federation because you want to be different. Cody, Matt, Nick, Kenny, whoever else is on that list that's in charge, you guys need to get your shit together. Like, seriously, like, we need to see something different, something new, something, like, these false finishes, these gimmick matches, all this stuff. It's time to get back to serious professional wrestling. And a fan of I really thought and really believed a fan of professional wrestling might be able to actually pull it off. But I'm having my doubts. Tony Khan it's kind of like, especially since he still wants like Goldberg to come back and some other people to come in and like going, no, this is not, it's different. There's some advantages to it, but I'm still going, man, they just need to, Miro needs to be a badass. All their monsters are kind of like, Of course, this week you heard they joined Brian Cage with Brian Cage, Ricky Starks, and the Murder Hawk Monsters, Lance Archer, which is too big of a name. You can just be the monster. Doesn't have to be the monster among men either. You can just be the monster, Lance Archer, or you could just be Lance Archer. Novel idea there. Wow, who would have thought? So they joined them three together for a temporary feud against what? It's
Darby Allin,
John Moxley, Darby Allin, and Will Hobbs. So we'll see how that plays out. I don't really know how to feel about that. Like, I don't mind John Moxley and Darby Allin together. Will Hobbs, I know because he came and saved John Moxley on the show, and then John Moxley called out Darby Allin, I want you on my team. I get it. They had the match. There's that grown respect. So, I see where the Darby Allin connection is. One, I know the Darby Allin connection with Ricky Starks and Brian Cage.
Will Hobbs is sort of out of left field. I mean, yes, we've seen him on AEW Dark. He's been used as an enhancement talent up until recently. Now I guess they gave him a spot during the Casino Battle Royal, and then this past Wednesday, they're trying to shoot him to the moon by putting him in the six-man tag. We'll see. I remember seeing Will Hobbs when he was known as Will Rude back in 2011 for an indie that was here in this area in California. He definitely was not as big and thick as he is now. So, I mean, good on him. He's, got that brawn and everything. I guess we'll see what he's got, not just as an enhancement talent, but now as, an actual piece of talent that's going to be pushed. So, time will tell.
And AEW's just got to give a solid direction, because now it's like Young Bucks are tired of being nice and everything. Now they want to be like, we're going to get what I want. And now they're like taking heels. Kenny Omega's going back to be the cleaner. Everybody's so all over the place, and nothing's solid. I want to follow something. Okay, Khan, Tony, buddy, please. Vince McMahon shits on everything that comes out. We don't know if the writers are writing anything good, or if Vince McMahon is rewriting everything or telling him to rewrite everything until he's freaking happy. So we don't know what goes on in WWE. Vince will never listen to us, but Tony, you're the one that can. So, Tony, come on, give us solid. Matt, Nick.
I know it's not your cup of tea, but you're talking about continuity. One of the stories that for many other fans, not you, but for a lot of other fans, is the Hangman Page saga.
Well, yeah, and then the thing with that is, I think they started to solidify Hangman. It was cool, and then he kind of went like this, and it's just kind of where are you taking me? And
I think that's kind of the point, though. You don't know where it's going, and that's what the interest is for some fans.
And I can get that, but at some point there's got to be an end point, and the fact of the matter was, I guess I got behind him in the fact that he was supposed to be one of the big stars. I'm going, I don't see it yet. Hopefully, it'll get there. But aside from that, you can say that's one story, but everybody else is so, all over the place, I can't keep up with. It's I want storylines, I want progression, I want to feel like everything has some meaning. The world champion is fighting everybody. Every pay-per-view he's fighting somebody else, and I'm going, okay, if he runs through everybody, who's the person that takes the belt off of him?
When they feel it's time for that to happen, they'll work out that story.
Well, I hope so, but they don't build anybody up to make it believable. That's it's like they don't have anybody right now that I can say is believable. Maybe the Murdoch Monster, Lance Archer, short of there. If they keep the monster aspect, the beast aspect, which they should be doing with Brian Cage. Brian Cage should be another one of these people who's out there doing a lot of squash matches. And, you know, the two beasts. I mean, they tried to write that story in the Casino Battle Royal. I didn't like that they let Brian Cage get eliminated by Sonny Kiss. Yeah, give Sonny Kiss the name recognition. It's kind of like Maven eliminating The Undertaker.
Yeah.
I don't think it did anything for Sonny Kiss. I don't think Sonny Kiss is ever going to get over. Jimmy?
Not as a main eventer at this point, but I would disagree that because Sonny Kiss already is over.
His character's over.
Well, yeah.
His wrestling's not. He's all character. Like, everything is over-exaggerated.
Then you went back to the argument, like, you know, who's the better wrestler, Hogan or Flair? In other words, charisma versus in-ring, you know, or character in this case versus in-ring.
Well, it's okay. There's characters that can get over, but, I mean, there's certain people that I'm like, okay, Sonny Kiss is okay. He's a great character, but he's not a wrestler. He's never going to be anybody that I see beyond it. He does his character, he does it, but he's not the wrestler. I don't see him main eventing. I don't see him in the world title picture. Maybe a tag team title picture. I don't even see him in the TNT title picture. There's a lot of people in AEW that I don't see as like Darby Allin. Yes, see him as a competitor in the TNT title picture. I can see him. Love to see him and Brody Lee maybe tied up. That could be a really interesting match.
Yeah.
Could I see him eventually in the world title picture? Maybe. He's still young.
Yeah, like he's got to be built more, but yes.
Yes. Hangman Page, I should be seeing in the world title picture. He just got out the tag team title pictures. I don't know because you have the title on Moxley, and I buy Moxley as being a face, even though I really think he's a better tweener. And then you put Sonny Kiss with Joey Janela, and you're just in a whole different mess because that team is just a joke. And then you got Jim Ross when the mic's not supposed to be on going, Joey Janela needs to be a heel.
I missed that, but oh my.
No, it's out there that Joey did that he was talking about Joey Janela and you know Jim Ross said it best when not Jim Ross but James E. Cornette said it best when Joey Janela was in the ring with Chris Jericho and Jericho had to be looking at him going because the studio looks and they're like, oh my god, Chris Jericho. Oh, anyways. Joey Janela's a joke. You can't wrestle either.
I agree with that, but then again, I haven't been a fan of Joey Janela, even with the little bit I saw on the Indies.
James E. Cornette called him, a trailer park crackhead? And it was like, Jericho's probably happy that he didn't transform into what he looks like, because you put them in the ring together, and they just, like, they're physically, if you take the faces away, look at their physical builds right now, they look the same. So, anyway, Joey Janela needs to go bye-bye. Sonny Kiss can maintain because they're over and they've got a great character wrestling-wise. No, but I mean their gimmick's good. I mean, and I love Orange Cassidy, but I know what Orange Cassidy is. He's a comedy character. He's not. Well, he did get some serious looks. I mean, he did get taken a little more seriously going up against Chris Jericho, which rubbed off a little bit. But he's still. I mean, he's going to go back to being the comedy character. They're not going to push him.
I don't know, because with a character like Orange Cassidy, you have to look at it in the long term. In the short term, I agree with you completely. He could be, if they want to invest in him, if they want to build him.
Yes.
Even with the character he has, that comic relief, he still could be a main eventer in the long term.
He showed some seriousness, which got me excited. Because I'm like, he can get serious. And now that he's talking, that's the other key. He's vocalizing. Hopefully, they're going to take that somewhere. And I guess maybe I'm used to the way of Vince writing wrestling that I'm always afraid of, getting on a bandwagon and watching and go, woo! Tony Khan, you're the fan of wrestling. You're like us. You've been watching wrestling for a long time. So come on. Yes, I know he's got Matt and Nick and Cody and Omega as inners, and I don't know how many other people have say in this and say in that or whatnot. I mean, I don't know all the details, but they have talent there. They really do. The AEW has talent. I just gotta feel it's different. And the gimmick matches are great every once in a while, but I'm like, okay, let's step away from the gimmick matches. Let's have real wrestling matches for a little bit. Let's get something really going. What else do we have to talk about tonight? We've gone off tangent. I love when we go off on tangent because we just talk about what needs to be talked about. I mean, and we don't have to agree. We can agree to disagree, and that's perfectly fine. Sonya Deville, future in WWE, just an update. Sonya Deville is time away from WWE following the incident involving her stalker, Philip Thomas. Won't be anytime soon. Philip Thomas, the man who was arrested inside Deville's home and charged with aggravated stalking, armed burglary of a dwelling, and attempted armed kidnapping and criminal mischief, pleaded not guilty on charges earlier this month.
He was caught in her house.
Yeah.
How was he going to say not guilty?
It wasn't me.
It's not.
I did not break into that woman's house. I did not have sexual relations with her. I didn't steal nothing, and I didn't do it. I'm going to be your next president of the United States. But Sonya Deville will not be back. She, of course, was written off of WWE TV in the Lucha League's WWE match. There is no timetable for her to return to the ring. She does have a court date on October 12th from the report here, or from PW Insider, as it says, on the follow-up of the case. So we're keeping an eye out on what's going on with that. So hopefully, eventually, we'll see her come back. Big E finally gets serious on WWE programming. SmackDown, if you didn't watch the little scene there, it finally looks like Big E got serious. Yes, he beat the snot out of an underling for whatever reason, which is kind of like, but at least he got a little bit of, like, angst, a little bit of, like, instead of being the comic relief, Big E gyrating and being pancake and all that stuff, he finally, like, came out and whooped up and then was like, no, we're not playing.
You can even say, instead of New Day Big E, we saw Big E Langston.
Yes.
From earlier in his career in WWE.
But you can't use the last name Langston. Vince McMahon doesn't like it. He wants shorter names to the wrestlers.
Well, he can bow down.
No, the day Vince McMahon bows down is
he'll be in his grave.
Yes.
And nothing to do with Corey.
Nothing with Corey, what?
Grave.
Oh.
Dad jokes, he's on my dad.
Bad, yes. You think Undertaker will dig that grave?
I wouldn't mind.
Oh.
That was bad. Oh, my bad.
Anywho, so Big E finally showed us that he's got some angst to him. He's got some fight to him. Very reminiscent of when he first came around as Big E. We won't say the L word. Because Vince doesn't like it. Whatever.
Never say the L word.
Never say the L word, but what if I have a friend and she happens to be the L word?
Still can't say it.
Oh. Is it kind of like the N word?
Absolutely. At least in pro wrestling.
Yes. Unless you're Booker T. There was a problem back in WCW where he did slip it up. And if you go watch it on YouTube. I forget what it's called. It's the Hulk Hogan, Booker T, Stevie Ray, Ishmael Sherry's there. It's he's going off about Hulk Hogan, and he slips up, and instantaneously, as he says it, that's his last word he says, he slips it. Stevie Ray starts talking, and you can see Booker go, oh. It's just like, it's okay, and they're trying to play this off, but he knew, like he instantly knew, like, crap.
And it has haunted him ever since. You hear more recent videos in the last few years where he talks about it on his podcast, and he still feels bad about it. So. But it's the funniest thing ever!
Oh, it's hilarious. If you go watch it, it's cringeworthy, because he's just like, oh, you just know he knew. That word came out. Not intentionally, you knew he was shooting from the hip. Like, that was not a scripted promo. He was he was just shooting as his character, which is great. These are wrestling promos I like, when I feel like they're really shooting, or they're so much themselves that it feels it's natural instead of a whole script.
There's a certain investment in it. There's a certain authenticity, a reality about it. And even if it's scripted, there's still a certain reality feeling about it.
Yes, but when they're connected to that and they get that, and this wasn't scripted, this was totally off.
There's no way.
He was shooting from the hip, because the direction he took to go to where he was so in character, and had himself turned up so high that it slipped out, and it was one of the funniest moments.
Yes.
In pro wrestling history. You know, and we'll joke and kid that word should never be said for any reasons or anything, but life happens, you know, and this was a great moment of one of those.
And here, does not forget, thank you, YouTube.
Yeah, well, it's going to be there forever. I mean, once you put it out there on the interwebs, it's there forever. Whether you think you can go in there and delete it and get it off there, it's still going to be there somewhere, some way, somehow.
Somebody screenshotted it, screen recorded it, whatever. Yeah.
Exactly. This is how wrestling also became hurt because, I mean, normally we broke the curtain because of the curtain call when Kevin Nash and Scott Hall were leaving WWE and did their last match in Madison Square Garden. They had the cage match. I think it was Shawn Diesel and then Razor at that time. Scott Hall came into the ring and then Triple H came in and they all hugged and embraced and somebody with a cell phone simply said, I'm recording this. And a guy out there, and it ruined wrestling, and Kevin Nash and Scott Hall were gone. Shawn Michaels was the world champion, and Triple H has been two-man said, you're going to eat loads of shit. You're going to have platefuls of shit, and you're going to learn how to like it. At least that's how Triple H tells the story in his, I guess, autobiography-esque movie that WWE did.
Oh, there's several sources where it's quoted to.
So, yeah. But that was in the case. Some of the greatest slips in wrestling. I mean, there's this, you know.
You know, after we get off this, we're going to have to go watch that promo, right?
Oh, yeah. We'll definitely have to go dig that up. It was up here recently for some reason.
Like, there's a lot of great promos out there. But because it was so real and so authentic.
Well, that's what's the best. I mean, that's what made some of the greatest promos ever were those. Nope, that's not the letters I wanted. Let's see, Ronda Rousey still talks about coming back. So those are still out there. I haven't really heard anything new. I know they talked about like AJ Lee being her manager. Like, why? I mean, if you're gonna bring AJ Lee back into the WWE, there's only like so much room to wiggle with because as far as I know and as I understand, and also we'll step back here for a second. Excuse me. As far as I know and understand, AJ Lee has no desires to step back in the wrestling ring. After writing her book and everything I've understood and what I've gotten from sources and from what I've heard from what she says, she has no desire to step back into wrestling. Like, she's done, she did it, she did everything she wanted into it, and she's done.
That's the way I understood it too.
Now, after the fallout with her husband, Phil Brooks, CM Punk, Chick Magnet Punk. And for people who waited years to figure out what does CM stand for, what's CM stand for? Yes, it's Chick Magnet, which is a tag team with Chick Magnet something else. It was Chick Magnet Punk and Chick Magnet something else. We gotta go watch the autobiography off of the WWE Network on Mr. CM Punk. But after the fallout with CM Punk in WWE, and the fact of the matter that they gave his firing or his release on their wedding day, I don't know in all the feud and the heat and the lawsuits and everything else that went on, but I guess you can't say never. Never can say never, so maybe it's possible. I mean, I think I just don't see AJ Lee coming back. I could see Punk coming back because I still think he's happy, but I mean, he's been doing independent scenes. He still has the bug. He did have talks with AEW. They just couldn't come to terms and agreement. So, I mean, if he's willing to sit down at a table, and maybe not a physical table like this table, but he's willing to sit down at the negotiation table and talk, you know, at all, there's still some interest for him in pro wrestling. He still has some passion left to come back if he's even going to entertain an idea. And he has said, the right idea, the right price, he'd come back. So I would see him come back before I would see AJ come back. So it's really weird for me to hear that they want to bring AJ Lee back, one. Two, they want to bring AJ Lee back and put her with Ronda Rousey, because that makes absolutely no sense. Why does Ronda Rousey need a manager otherwise, other than somebody like Paul Heyman?
Yeah, the only manager I can see is Paul Heyman. No one else makes sense to me. If someone's going to manage Ronda Rousey.
Like, I don't get what is AJ Lee going to do to help boost Ronda Rousey? And why would you even bring Ronda Rousey back? And I think if you're right, bring Ronda Rousey back and give us the MMA 4 Horsewomen. They're all there.
Yeah. You see half of them on Raw Underground. You see Shayna Baszler doing her thing. If you bring Ronda back, I mean,
Vince, figure out what you're doing with Shayna Baszler and get it freaking done quick, because you have screwed her. That loss at WrestleMania was the worst mistake. It was the worst mistake. Shayna Baszler was hot. She needed to win that match. I'm throwing my pen everywhere. And they yeah.
and especially with the build up to it, like they started getting her hot. Like you said, she was really hot.
Mm-hmm. Well, she came out of NXT boss.
Oh, for sure.
And then they brought on the main roster and they made her continue that storyline, and then she hit the WrestleMania wall with Becky Lynch before Becky got pregnant and had to leave. And she got it just deflated that, and then after that they never did anything with her until now. It's like, oh, okay, now we're gonna take her seriously. A little too late.
Well, we would say too late, but I mean it is definitely a rebuild phase again.
Well, if they do it right, and she has to be, I mean, I guess they got to rebuild her so she can be the contender for Asuka, because Asuka doesn't have anybody that can
Actually take her on. Fair.
Yeah, and it's Shayna Baszler, so hopefully they get that together and get that figured out, because Vince, you're killing me, man. Vince, I mean, you should be more on point, Vince, than anybody else. I mean, when WCW had you against the wall where you're about to fold WWE, you ran with the horses and turned that thing around. Overtook WCW only to purchase it in 2001, and now you have competition. Or maybe you don't have competition. I don't know. Maybe you don't take it seriously.
Well, what gets to me about Vince McMahon is this is the man who knew how to build stars at one point, and now he can't seem to do that.
No, and he doesn't even have to build the stars anymore. Triple H takes him into NXT and builds him hot. I mean, look, Finn Balor.
Yeah.
Kevin Owens.
Yep.
Sami Zayn. Becky, Becky got over on her own, but Sasha Banks. Bailey coming out of NXT, Shinsuke Nakamura, Robert Roode, Samoa Joe, Keith Lee.
Mm-hmm.
Who else came out of there hot? Neville was hot coming out of there. There's just so many people that have come out of NXT that had character, that were developed, that were hot, had the fan following. All they need to do is put that rocket pack on the back of them and let them soar, and they squashed them, they changed them, they looted them. Connor and Victor, the Ascension had a great...
Oh, golly!
Look at AOP. AOP was freaking hot, and they squashed that. Teamed them up with manager Drake Maverick. They had Paul Ellering in NXT to come to the main roster and wind up with Drake Maverick, which didn't fit. Nothing against Drake Maverick, Rockstar Spud. He's good, and I'm glad he's in NXT right now because he's rebuilding, redefining his thing. They had Insanity come up. Insanity was hot in NXT, and Eric Young, and Killian Dane, and
now they can't figure out what to do with Killian Dane, even on NXT.
Well, yeah, no, I know it's a hard pill to swallow. He needs to be a bad beast. Can't say Lars Sullivan because Lars Sullivan did his own self in. But they've had so many opportunities to get somebody. The only person they've had recently from NXT that's done anything has been Drew McIntyre.
Yeah.
And that's only because Vince always liked Drew McIntyre. He just screwed himself early on being a punk kid. Which he honestly admits. If you go to the WWE Network and watch, I think this year's WrestleMania talk through, Drew talks about all that stuff. Very honestly, like, yeah, back then I was being a punk. You know, I didn't realize what I had, and I neglected it. So I don't know why Vince just trashes everything that comes out of NXT. He trashes everything that comes out of NXT. Like Asuka. Asuka was hot. Who beat her? Charlotte. Why? No reason. No reason for Charlotte to beat Asuka when Asuka was undefeated for so long.
I mean, someone's going to eventually have to beat Asuka.
Yes, but
the story that went down and the way it was like, it did nothing for Charlotte, anything further. It did nothing for Asuka, anything further. It just stopped her push. That's it.
Mm-hmm. And she never really bounced back good from it.
Agree. Despite the fact she's a Raw champion.
Well, now she's bounced back and she's getting a little bit of that back, but it's still...
Yeah, he paid a little bit of that back.
But he said Kairi Sane came over, he blew that over, he blew Shayna Baszler, He didn't do anything with that. He leached on to Charlotte. Charlotte only got over because Flair. I mean, Charlotte can't wrestle. I'm sorry.
I don't agree. I think she's good for what she does.
What does she do? It's a woo, 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 woo.
Hey, if you don't like her matches, you don't like her matches, that's fine.
No, I don't. I don't.
But I do feel like she does, as a character, does rely on the woo too much. Everything else, at least, there's a little bit of a difference when you compare her to her father. I do feel that there is just too much wooing. It's like, okay, speak, say something.
Well, and she needs to speak, but she also needs to be less scripted.
Yes.
That's what I think hurts her. She's trying to, like,
remember what the lines are.
Because that's how she comes off. That whole robotic sense of, like, I always feel like she's very robotic and very scripted because she's trying so hard to remember every word to her script. I'm like, and I think this is what Punk said. You know, people would bring him scripts and he would tear them up and throw them out and they would make them read scripts, and this is where I'm going. I'm like, you can't write these people word for word scripts. Like, you need to give them bullet points of, like, here's what you're fighting over, here's what
That's also the difference between booking wrestling and writing wrestling. They want to write wrestling so bad. They want to be, Vince McMahon wants to be Hollywood so bad.
Well, then pack up your bags, leave Greenwich, Connecticut, and go out to Hollywood and go write yourself a damn movie, Vince. Quit fussing with.
And you're still not up to you. You have WWE studios and you're still not doing much with that either.
Yeah, it's never gotten. I mean, they've had movies. I mean, the Marines are pinning. I mean, some of the Marines are okay. I mean, the last one was halfway decent, but I go in with the expectation that it's a WWE film, so I'm not setting the bar like way up here. It's not going to be a AAA blockbuster.
They make what I call popcorn films.
Yes.
That's all they are.
And he wanted to do football, and that got squashed. But I mean,
at least the second time, at least I would say it's not his fault. Yeah, but that's, you have to blame it on the pandemic.
Anyways, Vince it's a mess, and I'm hoping and praying that wrestling gets better because it's hurting everywhere. But talent is spread out better now. You know, for a long time there, WWE was sucking in all the talent.
Yeah.
Now that talent's getting spread out a little more. We see some in the NWA part that we have, and then we got some decent stars in Impact. Some interesting people that I wouldn't have suspected. I mean, I wouldn't have suspected Gallows and Anderson up in Impact. Really wouldn't have betted on that one. And then we got some talent over there in AEW, and WWE's got their own talent. They need to reinvest in their talent. They need to do the homegrown talent stuff again. But we need to get away from writing wrestling and focusing on wrestling, real wrestling, letting stars do what they do, and do it safely, which
Like Heyman needs to say, you know, not hide the weaknesses. Well, yeah, hide the weaknesses as much as you can, and give out the strengths.
and quit writing wrestling. Let the wrestler be the character that he needs to be, and let him
Do the job you hired them to do.
Exactly. Put them and go, kids, give them a general idea what they want their character to be. Work with them. I mean, they don't have to have creative control, but figure out who this person is as a person, and then figure out what character can they play. Yes, wrestlers still have to be characters or actors in this grand play, but they need to be the character. They don't need to be given a character they're trying to fit into, because too many times not, when the wrestler's trying to fit into a character, it fails miserably.
No, I agree completely.
But with that said, I'm the big time BT Baldwin.
I'm Paulus Clark.
This is the Value Wrestling Podcast. We appreciate you watching. We hope you watch this video. Many other of our videos are all right there. Check out our channel. We also hope that you'll hit that subscribe button and help us grow. So like, comment, share, subscribe, do all that wonderful stuff. Ring that bell for notifications, and make sure you give us a big thumbs up. We appreciate your time. We appreciate you being here and giving us 50 minutes of your time, it seems like, maybe a little more, a little less. We thank you for joining us, and at this point, I guess it's good day.